time goes fast, but I want to live a present life, right? I'm like, I can hold both those things at the same time. Time goes fast and I want to live a present life. And part of living a present life is sitting still enough and being mindful enough to see when the moments are happening.
Hi there, I'm Vanessa Kaiser, a ranch girl turned social worker, business leader, and now entrepreneur. I'm passionate about diving into organization, leadership, personal growth, and efficiency. Around here, we call it rhythmic living, that continuous cycle of assessing the season of life that we're in and creating habits, routines, and processes that serve us best. This show is for the busy, the dreamers, the tired, the go-getters, those who want to live fully, grow steadily, and feel inspired each day. Welcome to the Inspiring Heights podcast.
Hi, friend. Welcome to Quarter 3 Coffee Chat with me, your host, Vanessa Kaiser. I love these podcast episodes. This is the third one we have done so far. If you are new here, if this is the first podcast episode you've ever listened to, this is so different than how Inspiring Heights podcast is typically done, but it is reminiscent of where we started. So when I first sat down behind a microphone, I did this. I had an outline and I would just talk and talk and some more. And what I came to understand and realize is that I'm a talkative person by nature. I always have been my entire life. I've been full of words. And you put a microphone in front of me and that does not change anything. Maybe it makes it worse. I don't know. But I know that there are a ton of inspiring and empowering and impactful people who also have a lot of really good words to say. And we are all buying for time in your earbuds, and you only have so much to give. And so the podcast has become a little bit more strategic with my words and the amount of time that I talk, just because, again, I know there's only so much time that you have to devote to it, and I want to make sure that I'm using it well. I'm honored that you're here, and I just want to honor your time well. But once a quarter, I set down the script, and I do just get a little chatty, and we talk like you and I were pals sitting across the table having a cup of coffee, or you were just on Marco Polo, and I was walking you around my house, doing my dishes, folding my laundry, having a good old day. So welcome to Coffee Chats with the host. If you've spent any time around Inspiring Heights, you know that I am all about finding tools and processes to make life just a little easier. What can I say? I am obsessed with efficiency. So here's the real scoop. When I first started seeing freeze dryers online, I dismissed them. Too expensive, too big, and what would we really even use it for? Seems like a pretty big investment for some freeze-dried bananas. But as time went on, I saw internet friends using freeze dryers in incredible ways, like soup in a jar that just needs water to be a delicious and nutrient-dense meal on a busy night, or a never-ending stockpile of healthy, crunchy snacks. My curiosity grew, and we finally decided to take the plunge. And I will tell you, this is one purchase I have zero buyer's remorse for. The freeze dryer has been a game changer for meal prep, saving money, and reducing waste. I no longer have veggies or fresh fruit go bad in the fridge because popping them in the freeze dryer is simple and effective. Sure, freeze drying might seem like a homesteading trend at first glance. I thought the same thing. But after using the Harvest Right freeze dryer, I am more convinced than ever that it is a tool almost every single home could benefit from. Whether it's batch prepping ingredients or creating meals that just need water to be ready, this machine makes life simpler and more efficient. If a freeze dryer sounds like a solution for your busy life, check out Harvest Right. They have different options to fit different needs and budgets. Visit my affiliate link, affiliates.harvestright.com/2639. Or check out the show notes for the link and any coupons active at the time of this podcast drop. All right, so I am a theme girl through and through, like theme a party, theme my Christmas cards, a themed gift basket. Oh my gosh. Is there anything better than putting together a themed gift basket? I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay, so anyways, typically we theme these podcast episodes. And as I was thinking about these things that I've just been like itching to tell you, I'm like, these are so random. These are so random. And so our theme for today is random thoughts of the summer. Random thoughts of the summer. I have 4 I want to share with you. So we'll get right to it. All right, first thing. Do you ever hear something that someone says, like podcaster, author, speaker, business owner, that you like adore and you're like, yes, yes, that is so true. And you kind of latch onto it and then you start talking about it. I did that with this statement I'm going to tell you, and I am changing my mind. I'm changing my mind. So I want to tell you about it. So the statement is, if we say something like, I can't believe it is already the end of July, or I can't believe it's already the end of the week, that means we are not living a present life. I heard that statement for the first time probably about 4 years ago from a podcaster author that I adore, absolutely adore. And I really latched onto that sentiment. I would say, kind of in the throes of really beginning to understand what living present looked like when you were keeping that top of mind, and how a present life is truly the backbone, the foundation of productivity, time management, organization, because all of those things are all for naught if we're not living a present life. And so I was like sticky Velcro during that time, where like anything that had to do with living a present life, I was just eating it up, right? Like just consuming all of this stuff. And I remember she did this like free webinar, and I listened to it literally multiple times because I was so enthralled with what she was saying. And that was one of the statements or the sentiments that really stuck with me. And so I have repeated it to you over and over and over again. If you listen back to old podcast episodes in the last 4 years, I promise you, I bet I say it at least like 4 times a year. Like, just not kidding. And probably like in the last 6 months or so, I found myself like really starting to question that. I'm like, I don't know if I actually agree with that statement in its entirety. And here's where I've ultimately landed. I think that that statement insinuates that if time feels like it's going fast, you are not living present. And I don't think that is true. I think it can be true, but I do not think it is universally true. Here's what I mean. I think that there are times, right? Like just think let's just take this in like such a granular example. You're sitting with your spouse on the couch on like a Friday night, and you start at like let's say you sit down at 7 p.m. and you guys are just gonna like chill, and you just want to like be together and just like hang out for the evening, right? And you pick up your phone and you start doom scrolling on Facebook. And when you look up, all of a sudden it's 8:30, and you're like, "What? How did an hour and a half go by?" Okay. This statement applies to those situations. Absolutely. Where we're not living present and like time goes by so fast, right? But day over day, when we are like making an honest and earnest attempt to live a present life, um, moment by moment, right? Like, I want to be present. I want to be here. I'm focused on you. I'm putting my phone down. I'm setting aside these distractions. I'm giving everything I have to this thing that's in front of me. But then we get to the end of a month, the end of a quarter, the end of a year, and we say, holy cow, I cannot believe how fast time flew. I don't think that that automatically means we weren't living a present life. I just don't think those two things are at odds with each other. And so I think instead, and this is like so true just in general, right? It's not even so much that that sentiment has to just be like wiped off the board as much as it just has to pivot a little bit. Like there has to be a little bit of like both, I would say, grace and discernment. The discernment is time flying because I'm not living present? Or do we just live in a world where like time goes so fast? Because if you think about, have you ever been able to sit down with a grandparent or someone who's just lived a lot of years of life ahead of you? They will always, almost always, not always, I suppose, but almost always tell you how fast the years go by. Like, like if you Google quotes on the internet, like there's so many things that talk about how fast the years go. And so I don't think that means that my grandma wasn't living a present life, right? I think it's just the reality of time in our like humanness. Time goes really fast. So instead of universally like applying that rule as a universal truth, I am now just saying, okay, when I feel like that, when I say the words, "Oh my goodness, I cannot believe it's the end of July already." I want that to instead trigger this automatic question in my brain, which is that because you're not living present? Or is that because time is just going really fast? Like, I want it to cause a pause. I want it to cause me to react. I want it to cause me to go, hey, I want to evaluate. I want to be curious about this statement, but I don't want it to cause shame anymore. Right. So, shame off me, shame off you. Time goes fast, but let it stand as an opportunity for curiosity of saying, and like, yeah, like, am I being here? Am I present? Am I living distracted? Does anything need to pivot? Those are good questions. So the second thing is I am finding myself moving a lot of to-do items or projects to my fall winter list. And I'm wondering if anyone else is doing that. Are you doing that or is it just me? Am I alone in this? Um, it's so interesting. So I'll give you an example. I play the piano a little bit and I have this whole box of piano music that I've had for years and years, and they're in books that are bound like not with spirals. I don't know what those are called, but they're just like bound like a normal book. And honestly, like any person who binds a music book like that, I just think you obviously don't play instruments because it is like impossible. Like you have to like use clothespins or like use a string or use like some fancy like page holder, but then turning pages is a whole racket. Like it's wild. And I was like, this is useless. Like I actually don't use these books because I can't get them to lay flat on the piano. And so I was like, I'm done with this. This is so silly. So I took all of them to Office Depot and I had them cut the spines off. And so all the papers are loose. And then I am stuffing them in like clear page protectors and then putting them in a 3-ring binder so that the music is protected so I can turn the pages easily, like all the things, right? It's glorious. But it is a big project. And so I started it in like late spring, early summer, and I was like so determined. And like it just kept getting moved like week over week. And finally, I was like setting up my July month in my planner, and I was like, this project is not getting moved to July. Like this project is literally probably not going to happen until November. And it just as well go there instead of stressing me out every week thinking about it. And so, but here's what I want to say. I actually feel okay about it. I feel okay about it. And here's where this whole mindset has honestly come from. I can't remember if it was the first coffee chat I did or the second one, but one of them I told you about this idea of doing like a massive weekly reset encompassing of so many things. Like you're looking at your calendar, your to-do list, you're looking at your email, like, getting your inbox to zero. You're looking at any pins you've saved on Pinterest or posts that you've saved on Instagram or TikTok, or I don't have TikTok, but so maybe you can't even save, I don't know, but like Instagram, Facebook, like anything that you've saved and going, what do I need to do with this? Like, does this need to go into a to-do list? Does this need to go into an explore list? Does this need to go into a to make list? Like, how can I organize and implement the things that sparked my curiosity, sparked my, whatever throughout the week? And the idea of this is that like we are consumers of so much information, so much media that like never goes anywhere, but those things can like stress us out. They can cause clutter visually, technology-wise, in our heads, like all the things. And so the idea is just that like you kind of wipe the slate clean in its entirety every week. Here's the thing I said whenever I can't remember again if that was in Q1 or Q2, but I say like I want to do a podcast episode on this once I kind of have it down. I still don't have it down, you guys. I still don't have it down. I am trying. Like it has been really hard to I have found it's been really hard to implement in its entirety because I feel like I have a lot of work I need to do to get things to a place where I can actually have each week at 0. And it does feel important to me. I actually like it's not something I'm giving up on. It's something I'm still very much pursuing. And I'm hopeful that like by the end of the year I'll kind of be in that space. And then I'll be able to do like a whole podcast episode where I give you the nitty-gritty deets on it. But for now, what I will say is definitely, even though it's not perfectly implemented and definitely like so much room to grow in it, here's what it has done. It's helped me to think about specifically my to-do list a little bit differently. So instead of being like, okay, like this music thing, for example, instead of being like, okay, I'm just going to keep moving this week over week over week, I'm actually like stopping to cognizantly think like, hey, is this actually going to get done this week? Like, is this actually possible in July? No. Okay. Is it actually possible in August? And I look at my August calendar. I'm like, definitely not. September, same. Right? Like October, nope. November's looking good right now, right? And so I actually move it to a place where it is possible. Even like maybe a little bit more granular, not to get too down a rabbit hole, but specifically in weeks where like and there's been so many of them this summer where I'm like gone multiple days in a week, or typically it's like I'm gone multiple days in a week and then maybe we have company coming or something, right? And so it's like there's just like it, or we're leaving at the end of the week. Like there's lots going on during the week and then we're leaving at the end of the week. And it's like when you're making your weekly to-do list, it's like just getting really honest about observing what kind of time capacity you actually have in that week and not putting more in your to-do list than what you actually have capacity to get done. That's been really helpful for me in terms of like just managing stress, managing expectations, and managing my time. So, anyways, I feel good about moving things to my fall winter list. Also, it feels so crazy to me to say I'm moving things to my fall winter list. And honestly, fall is not that far away. It's not, you guys. Oh my goodness. Here's what I'll say. I said this before. I say this all the time, actually, whenever I like introduce a new season. But for us, typically fall starts around like the first part of September. It's all about like weather and feel for me. And honestly, like whenever Starbucks drops pumpkin spice, that's when fall starts for me. Not because I even drink pumpkin spice lattes from Starbucks, because I don't. But I do love pumpkin spice. I just like to make my own. Um, but uh but because like it's just like this like, oh yes, I love fall so much, and like the more time there is for fall the better. And so it's like this summer I can say like, oh, it's finally fall. Like I get to go. But here's what's interesting. When I was a student, like college, high school, grade school, when I was a student, fall started when school started, right? And now I'm pretty connected with our local schools. So I'm like, ooh, does that mean that fall gets to start in August again? I'm still debating. I'm debating. But one way or another, fall is right around the corner. It's right here. Do you ever wish there was a natural, science-backed way to ease aches, boost your mood, and even support healthier skin? I felt the same way until a friend introduced me to LumiBox. Not too long ago, I was venting about long-time ankle pain to one of my girlfriends, and she encouraged me to check out LumiBox, a red light therapy device. She brought it with her for a girls' weekend because this is what it's like to be in your 30s, my friend. I gave it a whirl, and after just a couple of days, I can honestly tell you I was sold. That was the beginning of my journey with this incredible tool for holistic health. Now, LumiBox is a Kaiser family favorite. We use it for everything from soothing aches and eczema to giving our mood a gentle lift on tough days. Here's the deal. LumiBox harnesses the power of red light and near-infrared wavelengths to promote healing deep beneath the skin. Backed by science and loved by so many, It's a simple, natural way to support your mind and body. And for a short time only, LumiBox is offering my listeners an exclusive $260 discount. Just visit LumiBox.com and use the coupon code INSPIRINGHeights at checkout. Don't wait, this could be your next step towards holistic health. I'll put the link and the coupon code in the show notes. Okay, so this third thing on my list is a little bit heavy, but I'm going to try to keep it high level so it doesn't get too heavy or too long. But I was having lunch with a girlfriend the other day, and we were talking about boundaries, which is this topic that I've been so interested in the past couple of years. And just boundaries in general, right? Like boundaries with family, with friends, with church, with community, like just like what does having good boundaries as a human look like? And because I can think about people in my life, and I would venture a guess that you probably could too, where you know people who have good boundaries, right? And you're like, and you can tell a really stark difference in their life versus people who don't have good boundaries, right? Like there's a lot to be said for having good boundaries. So anyway, we were having this conversation and she said this thing that was just like so mind blowing to me. And I've been really pondering it ever since mulling it around. She said she's reading a book and she's in the book talks about boundaries. And one of the things that it says is that our boundaries are so much better when they're set from our values versus from our reactions. So we say, here are the core values of my life. And from these values, I set my boundaries, right? And when I get in a situation where someone crosses the boundaries, right, or pulls me outside of my boundary lines, from my values, I have a clear pull and clear tie back to essentially what really matters the most to me. And it makes setting this boundary so much more impactful, meaningful, and quite frankly, easier than when I'm just constantly reacting. And my reaction is then causing me to set another boundary. I've been so intrigued by that sentiment. And I'm really sitting with it. I'm really pondering it a lot. And like, what does that actually look like to implement? Starting with, yeah, like what are my values, right? Like what are my top 5 core values in my life? And what does it look like to have boundaries around those values because they matter enough to me to put boundary lines around them, right? Yeah, it's so interesting to think about that. Here's specifically something I've thought about. I can really struggle to tell people no. I feel really bad, and then I can tell when I have to tell someone no, and then I tell myself a whole story about their reaction or what they were thinking about me because I said no, and and then there's also, like, there's people that are it's easier for me to say no to them than other people, and, just, like, the cashier at the store can tell her no if she says, "Hey, do you wanna donate to this, random thing that you know nothing about?" No, I can say no to that, right? But, like, a close, like, friend or family member who's like, "Oh, hey, can you do this thing?" And you're like, "Oh, I really no." I don't I don't feel like that's a good yes for me. It can be way harder to enter into that no. And so I've just been thinking about like though if your no is coming from a place of your values, I could see where it would just feel like less yucky because it's less emotional, right? It's like, oh, I'm saying no because this thing over here matters, to me. I've already named it, identified it. So I'm taking away some of the emotion of my response. And I'm just telling you no because genuinely that's the best answer I have for you in this moment based off of what matters the most to me, in my values. And so, um, I don't know. I'm mulling it around and I wanted to tell you because maybe you're struggling with boundaries. Maybe you're thinking about boundaries. Maybe boundaries have been a hard thing for you. And if that's the case, I hope that this statement can maybe be a launching point to just to be inspired to continue to do the work of understanding boundaries and for you and what it looks like for you and leaning into those things in a healthy way. Okay, the fourth and final thing. So, a couple weeks ago, we woke up on a Friday morning and it was raining. And it rained and it was chilly outside, like 55, 58 degrees. I don't know, something like that, something wonderful like that. And it rained for about like 6, 7 hours, right? So I had like every window in the house open, fans on, and it got like chilly in here. Listen, I am an air conditioned girl in the summer through and through. Like the windows are very rarely open in our house in the summertime because it's just too hot. But that morning, like the house was open, it smelled good, it felt good in here. It was awesome, it was glorious. And it just got me thinking about the moments, the little moments, the little things that bring so much joy. So that morning I lit a candle on my desk, which I don't do. I make my own candles, by the way. If you're like, what? You have a candle? Yeah, I made it myself and it's scented with essential oils. Okay. And so I lit my candle and I brewed a cup of lemon loaf tazo tea, which is like my favorite thing in the world. And in like the fall, winter, spring, cold mornings, that's how I would start my day. Actually, was a cup of lemon loaf tea. And in the summer, it's just too hot. Like by the time I get in from working in the garden and walking, like I just haven't been doing that. But like that morning, it's chilly, and so I have my lemon loaf tea and my lit candle and I'm just like, this moment, these things are so small. They're so insignificant. They're so fleeting. Like, right, the sun was out and it was hot by 2 p.m. But like in that moment, it was so wonderful. It was so wonderful. And it had me thinking and reflecting about how much, like, I am a planner and I love to plan. Like, I find joy in planning for the future. So every morning I go on a walk and I think about my day and then I think about the rest of the week and then I think about next week and then I think about the month. And I literally think about it every day on my walk. Like, that's what I think about. That's what like talking out loud about to myself. I'm that person. I'm a person who talks to myself. I'm thinking about those things over and over again, and I love it. It's very life-giving to me. But here's one of the things that I've started to grow a little bit more aware of. My planning for the future can sometimes pull me out of this moment. Right? Because it's like, "Oh, I'm really looking forward to this thing," or like, "I'm really feeling a little anxious and stressed about this thing over here," or like, "I think that this is gonna, be a little worrisome down the road," or, "I think this is gonna be really exciting down the road. I can't wait to see them or do that thing." And it pulls me out of a rainy morning with a candle and a cup of tea. It pulls me out of, like, a funny, story in the garden with my husband in the morning. It pulls me out of, cooking dinner, like, in the kitchen. It pulls me out of the joy and excitement that I find in being behind this microphone and talking to you. And there's this quote, like, I'm butchering it, I'm positive, but it's something like, "Life is made up of these little moments." And that's not cliche. It's very true, and I think sometimes as people, we can get really excited for the big things ahead, right? So, if you're not married and you want to be, it's like, "Oh, I'm really excited to be married. I'm really excited to be married." And then if you're married and you want kids but you don't have them yet, it's like, "Oh, like I can't wait to have babies. I can't wait to have babies." Right? And then if you have kids but you don't have grandkids yet, it's like, "Oh, I can't wait to have grandkids." And we like, "I can't wait to retire. I can't wait to get this new job. I can't wait to graduate from college. I can't." It's like these big, like, life things that we can't wait for, that we put a lot of stock in. But I think that probably all of us have felt at some point when we put so much stock in that thing and then that thing happens and we get to the other side and we feel really disappointed and we feel really let down because we think that that thing is going to hold us and hold our excitement and hold our happiness forever and ever. But the reality is that that thing is also just made up of so many moments, right? Like a marriage is such a wonderful gift. Like I say, like the Lord made me to be married. I I love marriage so much. And yet it's these like little moments, right? It wasn't just our wedding day was beautiful and lovely and such a great memory. I love it so much, but like that was not the end all be all, right? It's the little moments that make up our relationship. It's the little inside jokes. It's the being best friends. It's doing life side by side. And, it's all those things that happen day over day, those little moments that make up this life that's so absolutely beautifully wonderful. And so I've just been like poetically leaning into that. Okay, I'm not a poet. Okay. But I've just been really like letting my emotions kind of sit there a little bit and go like, yeah, I don't want to miss the moments. I want to lean in. And that just ties back into that first point that I was talking about, where it's like time goes fast, but I want to live a present life, right? I'm like, I can hold both those things at the same time. Time goes fast and I want to live a present life. And part of living a present life is sitting still enough and being mindful enough to see when the moments are happening, like the joyful little moments that are happening. So that's where I'm at. That's what I got for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know this is an extra long podcast episode for our summer series that is supposed to be under 15 minutes. This one's definitely not. But, if you and I were sitting across the table having coffee, it wouldn't be under 15 minutes. All right. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time.
And that's a wrap. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Do you have questions, comments, or insights on today's content? I would love to hear from you. You can DM me on Facebook or Instagram, or head over to our website, inspiringheights.org, and click on the Contact Us form. I will link all those locations here in the show notes. P.S. If you haven't already, I would love for you to leave a 5-star rating and a quick review of the podcast. This helps get our content in the hands of new listeners. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter and follow us on social media for rhythmic doses of inspiration. All right, friends, take a deep breath and be inspired where your feet are. Bye for now.